The unknown threat. In the cold void of space, where stars glimmered like distant candles, the Clivar Empire's scout fleet patrolled the galaxy's edge. For centuries, the Clivar had expanded their reach, subjugating weaker species and harvesting their planets. To them, Earth was just another insignificant rock spinning in the darkness. Commander Zyra, a veteran of countless conquests, sat in her command chair aboard the warship Prykar. Her golden eyes scanned a holographic map before her. A strange signal had been detected from a system far from the Empire's core. It was faint, almost unnoticeable, but unusual enough to pique her interest. Signals like this often meant one of two things: a budding civilization ripe for conquest, or a lost relic of ancient technology. "Status report," Gyra demanded, her voice sharp and commanding. An officer with smooth blue skin and trembling hands responded. "The signal is originating from the third planet of the system. It appears to be artificial, Commander. Energy readings suggest advanced technology." Zyra frowned. Advanced. From this backwater part of the galaxy, unlikely. She leaned forward, her sharp claws tapping against the armrest. "Set a course for the source. If it's a developing species, we'll extinguish them before they become a threat." The crew obeyed without hesitation. For the Clivar, conquering new worlds was a way of life. They thrived on the fear and submission of lesser beings, and no species had ever resisted them for long. As the fleet approached the solar system, the scouts sent back images of the planets. Most were barren or lifeless, but the third planet, Earth, caught their attention. It was vibrant, teeming with life, and surrounded by artificial satellites. Zyra sneered. "Primitive," she muttered. "They clutter their orbit with debris." But then, something unexpected appeared on their sensors. Among the scattered satellites, there was something large, something unnatural. "Commander," the officer stammered, "we've detected a massive structure in orbit around the third planet. It's emitting energy signatures, like nothing we've seen before." Zyra's eyes narrowed. "Show me." A holographic display flickered to life, revealing a colossal object floating above Earth. It was angular, black as the void, and bristling with weapons. Lights flickered across its surface, giving it an ominous, predatory appearance. The bridge fell silent. Even Zyra, hardened by decades of war, felt a momentary pang of unease. "That can't be real," whispered another officer. "No species in this part of the galaxy could build something like that." Zyra's voice cut through the silence. "Analyze it. Now." The officers scrambled to comply. Data poured across their screens, but the results were baffling. The structure, which they assumed was a warship, was unlike anything the Clivar had encountered. Its power readings were off the charts, its hull made of materials their scanners couldn't identify. "It's not possible," one officer muttered. "This species was supposed to be primitive. How could they?" Meanwhile, aboard the HS Titan, humanity's first ever battleship, Captain Aria Kane watched the alien fleet approach on her own monitors. She stood tall, her short black hair framing a face that bore the weight of Earth's survival. She had been chosen to command the Titan not just because of her skills, but because of her determination. She was a symbol of humanity's resilience. "Status report," Kane ordered, her voice calm but firm. Her second in command, Lieutenant Harris, replied, "The alien fleet has entered the system. 17 ships detected. Their formation suggests they're preparing for reconnaissance or an attack." Kane nodded. She had expected this. Ever since humanity had first detected alien life, they knew it was only a matter of time before Earth became a target. That's why the Titan existed. It wasn't just a ship, it was a message to the galaxy that humanity would not go quietly. "Bring the Titan online," Kane commanded. "Let's give them something to think about." Back on the Prykar, the Clivar fleet drew closer to Earth. Zyra's initial confidence was starting to waver. The mysterious ship in orbit was unlike anything she had seen, but she refused to show weakness. "Prepare a scout ship," she ordered. "I want to know what we're dealing with." But before her crew could respond, the massive object began to move. Slowly at first, then with a terrifying grace, it turned toward the alien fleet. Its weapon systems lit up, casting an eerie glow across the void. "Commander," an officer cried, "the structure is targeting us." Zyra's claws dug into her chair. "Impossible. They couldn't know we're here." But they did. The Titan had been waiting for this moment. Inside the Titan, Captain Kane watched as the alien fleet hesitated. She knew what they were feeling. Fear. Humanity had designed the Titan not just to fight, but to intimidate. Every inch of its massive frame was built to strike terror into anyone who dared to challenge it. "Send the message," Kane ordered. The communications officer nodded and transmitted the signal. It was a simple message, just one line. "This is humanity's territory. Turn back or face the consequences." On the Vrekar, Zyra's crew stared at their screens in disbelief. The message was clear, direct, and in a language they didn't recognize. But the tone needed no translation. It was a warning. For the first time in her long career, Zyra felt something she hadn't felt in decades. Doubt. "What are these humans?" she whispered. Her question hung in the air as the Titan powered up its weapons, its presence dominating the battlefield before a single shot had been fired. Humanity's first move. The glow of the HSS Titan's thrusters illuminated the void as it began to maneuver into position. Inside, the crew braced for what they knew could be humanity's last stand. The Titan was Earth's best-kept secret, a project born out of desperation after years of observing alien incursions across the galaxy. The leaders of Earth had realized one terrifying truth. Humanity was on borrowed time. The birth of the Titan. A flashback painted the picture of Earth united by fear. The first alien signals had been detected decades ago, faint whispers from the stars that sparked both excitement and dread. Scientists and engineers worked around the clock, racing to prepare for what humanity knew was inevitable. The Titan wasn't just a warship, it was humanity's defiance made metal. Built in secret, hidden from the eyes of prying satellites, it was constructed using breakthroughs in physics and engineering that pushed the boundaries of human understanding. The ship's sleek, angular design was coated with a material derived from Earth's most advanced alloys, capable of absorbing and deflecting energy at unprecedented levels. At the heart of the Titan was its most valuable feature, the arc core, a power source so revolutionary that even those who worked on it barely understood its full potential. It could generate more energy than any system ever devised, enough to power an entire planet, or a ship capable of leveling one. Present day. The tension mounts. On the bridge of the Titan, Captain Aria Kane stood with her arms crossed, her expression unreadable as the alien fleet crept closer on the ship's holographic display. The alien warships, sleek and menacing, formed a tight formation, typical for a reconnaissance fleet. But their numbers suggested something more. These aliens weren't just scouting. They were testing Earth's strength. "Analysis, Lieutenant Harris," Kane said, her voice steadied despite the mounting tension. Harris, a young but brilliant tactician, replied. 17 ships in total. Standard scout fleet composition. Their leader seems to be that one. He pointed to the largest ship, which dwarfed the others. "It's likely a command vessel, equipped for long-range operations." "Interesting," Kane murmured. She stared at the glowing outline of the alien fleet. They came expecting prey, but now they're wondering if they've bitten off more than they can chew. The bridge crew chuckled nervously, but the tension was palpable. They had trained for this moment, but none of them had ever faced an alien force before. The weight of Earth's survival pressed heavily on their shoulders. "Power up the Titan," Kane ordered. "Let's remind them why Earth isn't a soft target." The Titan roars to life. Deep within the Titan's core, the arc core hummed as it awakened, sending waves of energy rippling through the ship. Lights flickered on across its massive frame, and its weapons systems sprang to life. The rail cannons, mounted like the teeth of a predator, locked onto the approaching fleet. Missile silos opened, revealing rows of advanced warheads designed to bypass even the most sophisticated defenses. Outside the ship, the void seemed to shimmer as the Titan's shields activated, forming an invisible barrier around the vessel. The alien fleet halted as their sensors struggled to make sense of the readings. The Titan wasn't just active, it was alive. Commander Xyra, an alien officer on the Vrykar, stammered. The object's power levels are escalating. It's a warship. Xyra clenched her jaw, her golden eyes narrowing. A warship? From them. This species shouldn't even have orbital weapons, let alone something of this scale. Her mind raced. She had led dozens of campaigns against fledgling civilizations, and none had posed a challenge. But this was something else. She couldn't deny the unease creeping into her thoughts. Humanity takes the initiative. Back on the Titan, Kane made her first move. Transmit a message to Earth Command, she said. Let them know we engaged the enemy. The communication officer nodded and began typing, but the process was interrupted by an alert. The alien fleet had deployed a scout vessel, a small, agile craft speeding toward Earth's atmosphere. They're testing our response time, Harris said grimly. They want to see how far they can push us. They won't get the chance, Kane replied. She turned to the weapons officer. Target the scout and disable it. I want them to know what they're dealing with. The weapons officer, a seasoned veteran named Lieutenant Garcia, smirked. With pleasure, Mom. Moments later, one of the Titan's rail cannons fired. The shot was so fast, so precise, that the alien scout didn't even have time to evade. It exploded in a fiery burst, its debris scattering across the void. The aliens react. On the Vrykar, Xyra watched the destruction of the scout with wide eyes. The weapon was unlike anything she had seen, a level of precision and power that rivaled even the most advanced technology of the Clivar Empire. How? She muttered, her voice barely above a whisper. The bridge was silent, the crew paralyzed by shock. For the first time, they weren't the hunters. They were the hunted. Commander, another officer said nervously, should we retreat? This might not be worth. Silence. Xyra barked, her claws scraping against the armrest of her chair. We are the Clivar. We do not run from primitives. But even as she spoke, she couldn't shake the feeling that this battle was far from ordinary. Her empire's dominance had never been questioned. Until now. The showdown begins. The Titan moved forward, its weapons trained on the alien fleet. Kane stood tall on the bridge, her voice ringing with authority. Send them one last message. Leave now or face annihilation. The crew obeyed, transmitting the warning. On the alien ship, Xyra read the message and felt her resolve falter. The humans weren't begging for mercy. They weren't even afraid. They were challenging her. As the Titan loomed larger on the screen, a chilling realization dawned on her. These weren't the weak, disorganized creatures she had expected. They were something far more dangerous. The first encounter. The silence in the void was unnerving. The Clivar fleet, once a formidable wall of conquest, now hung motionless in space, their sleek warships dwarfed by the HS Titan. Commander Xyra, who had once felt invincible in her role as the Empire's spearhead, now found herself grasping for answers. The Titan's imposing figure moved like a predator stalking its prey, its weapon systems glowing faintly with a quiet threat. On the Vrykar, Xyra's officers looked to her for orders, but their commander hesitated, her mind racing. This isn't how it's supposed to be. Xyra muttered to herself. No species advances this quickly without external help. What are they hiding? Humanity's tactical advantage. On the Titan, Captain Aria Kane stood at the center of the command bridge, her hands clasped behind her back. Around her, the holographic display illuminated the faces of her crew, each one focused and ready. She knew the aliens were stalling, unsure of how to proceed. They've never faced anything like us before, Kane said, her voice calm but firm. They're trying to figure out if we're bluffing. Let's show them we're not. Lieutenant Harris nodded. All systems are online, Captain. Targeting solutions are locked. Their lead ship, the command vessel, is well within range. Kane's lips curved into a faint smile. Good, but we're not firing yet. First, let's test their nerves. She turned to her communications officer. Broadcast the Titan's full energy signature. Make sure they see just how much power we're holding back. The Titan flexes its might. From the alien fleet's perspective, the Titan suddenly flared to life. Its power output spiked, flooding the Clivar's sensors with readings that defied logic. Shield systems shimmered with a near-invisible barrier that crackled with energy. The ship's main cannons rotated with mechanical precision, pointing directly at the Vrykar. On the Vrykar, the crew scrambled to interpret the data. Commander Xyra, an officer stammered, their energy levels are off the charts. This ship isn't just powerful, it's a fortress. If they fire, we won't survive. Xyra clenched her jaw. They won't fire unless provoked. They're trying to intimidate us. But even as she spoke, doubt gnawed at her resolve. The humans had destroyed the scout with a single shot, and the precision of their strike suggested they weren't just a lucky species stumbling into advanced technology. They were deliberate, calculated, and worst of all, confident. Humanity strikes first. Back on the Titan, Captain Kane made her move. Harris, let's send them a wake-up call. Target their smallest cruiser and disable its engines. No lethal shots yet. I want them to know we're in control. Harris grinned. Aye, Captain. The Titan's rail cannon powered up with a low hum that built into a deep, resonating vibration. In a flash of light, a single projectile was launched. The speed of the shot was incomprehensible, and within seconds, it struck its target. A Clivar cruiser. The projectile didn't explode. Instead, it delivered an electromagnetic pulse that disabled the ship entirely. The cruiser drifted lifelessly in space, its lights extinguished. On the Vrykar, Xyra's officers watched in stunned silence. They didn't destroy it, one officer whispered. They disabled it with precision. They're playing with us, another added, fear creeping into their voice. Xyra's claws scraped against the armrest of her chair. Enough of this. If they want to intimidate us, we'll show them what the Clivar Empire is capable of. All ships, advance and prepare to fire. The Clivar counterattack. The alien fleet began to move, their ships forming a battle line as they advanced toward the Titan. The Vrykar led the charge, its weapons charging with a fiery glow. Xyra's voice echoed across the comms, rallying her fleet. They may be strong, but they are alone. Overwhelm them with numbers. Show them no mercy. The Titan's sensors picked up the movement instantly. Lieutenant Harris turned to Kane, his expression serious. They're advancing, Captain. All 17 ships are in attack formation. Kane nodded, just as we expected. They think they can swarm us. Garcia, are the missile silos ready? Lieutenant Garcia smirked. Locked and loaded, Captain. Good, Kane said. Fire a warning salvo. I want them to know exactly how outmatched they are. The Titan's warning salvo. The Titan's missile bays opened with a mechanical hiss, revealing rows of advanced projectiles. In unison, the missiles launched, streaking across the void toward the alien fleet. But they weren't aimed to destroy. Instead, they detonated in precise patterns, creating walls of fiery explosions that forced the Clivar ships to scatter. On the Vrykar, Xyra's crew struggled to maintain formation. The explosions disrupted their sensors and communications, leaving the fleet disoriented. They're toying with us, an officer cried. They could have destroyed us, but they're holding back. Xyra's composure cracked. She slammed her fist against the console. Silence. Regroup the fleet and focus fire on their engines. If we can disable their mobility, they'll be vulnerable. Humanity's true strength. Back on the Titan, Kane watched the chaos unfold with a steely gaze. "They're learning," she said, "but not fast enough. They don't understand what they're dealing with." The Titan moved forward, cutting through the void like a blade. Its presence alone sent ripples of fear through the alien fleet. Kane's voice rang out across the bridge. "Prepare for Phase 2. We've shown them our strength. Now, let's end this before they get desperate." As the Titan powered up for its next move, a single thought echoed in Kane's mind. "This is our moment. We're not just defending Earth. We're showing the galaxy what it means to be human." The power of the Titan. The battlefield shifted from tension to chaos. The Clivar fleet scrambled to regroup after the Titan's warning salvo, but disarray rippled through their ranks. The Titan, in contrast, moved with predatory precision, a silent juggernaut unbothered by the alien fleet's scattered formation. Inside the Clivar warship Vrykar, Commander Xyra paced the bridge, her confidence now replaced with mounting dread. "They are holding back," Xyra muttered, her voice barely audible. Her golden eyes darted toward the holographic display of the Titan, which loomed larger with each passing second. "Why would they hold back unless they wanted us alive long enough to send a message?" Her second-in-command, an officer named Visick, spoke hesitantly. "Commander, their weaponry outmatches ours, and their shielding is impervious to our scanners. This isn't just a warship, it's a statement." Xyra's claws scraped against her command console. "Then we'll force their hand. All ships, focus fire on their midsection. Overload their shields if necessary. Let them show us their limits." The Titan's calm amid chaos. Inside the HSS Titan, Captain Arya Kane stood in serene contrast to the escalating panic outside. The command bridge hummed with activity as her officers tracked the alien fleet's movements. Each alien ship was outlined on the holographic map, their desperate attempts to coordinate painted in bright red. "They're regrouping," Lieutenant Harris reported, his voice steady despite the rising tension. "Looks like they're aiming for a concentrated strike on our midsection." "Desperation," Kane said, her tone dismissive. "They think our shields are a weak point. Let's disprove that theory." She turned to her shield technician, a young prodigy named Ensign Dorsey. "Activate Cascade Shielding Protocol. Let's see how they handle adaptive defenses." The Cascade Shield. The Titan's shields flared in response to the incoming barrage. Unlike conventional shielding, the Cascade system dynamically shifted its energy field to absorb and deflect multiple simultaneous attacks. Alien energy blasts and missiles struck the ship's surface, but instead of causing damage, they seemed to dissolve into ripples of light that danced harmlessly across the Titan's hull. On the Vrykar, the Clivar officers stared in disbelief. "Their shields are adapting to our weapons," Visick stammered. "No matter how much we fire, it has no effect." Xyra's composure cracked further. "No shield is invincible," she growled. "Increase power to all weapons. Overload their systems if we have to." Humanity's counterstrike. Kane watched as the alien fleet poured everything they had into the assault. Energy beams, plasma bursts, and kinetic projectiles rained down on the Titan, but the ship didn't so much as flinch. She let the aliens expend their resources for a moment longer before giving the order. "Lieutenant Garcia," Kane said with a faint smile, "let's remind them why the Titan exists. Target their flagship." Garcia's fingers flew across his console. "Target locked, Captain. Weapons ready. Fire," Kane commanded. The Titan's primary rail cannon powered up, emitting a low, resonating hum that built to a deafening crescendo. The cannon fired, and a blinding streak of energy tore through the void, striking the Vrykar with pinpoint precision. The Clivar command ship shields buckled under the impact, and its hull erupted in flames. On the Vrykar, alarms blared as Xyra was thrown from her chair. Sparks flew from damaged consoles, and smoke filled the air. "Damage report," she roared, pulling herself upright. "Catastrophic damage to the aft section. An officer shouted. "Shields are down. We've lost half our weapon systems. The Titan's dominance." The Titan moved closer, its towering frame casting a long shadow over the crippled Frykar. Kane's voice echoed across the Titan's bridge, calm but commanding. "Broadcast our message again. Make sure they know there's still a way out." The communications officer nodded, and moments later, the Titan's message was transmitted in the alien fleet's language. "Withdraw now. Any further resistance will result in complete destruction." On board the alien ships, the message struck like a hammer. For the Clivar, retreat was a shameful act, but the alternative was annihilation. The smaller ships began to waver, their formations breaking apart as panic spread. Zyra's desperation. But Commander Xera wasn't ready to surrender. Blood streamed down her temple from a gash caused by the Titan's strike, but her eyes burned with defiance. "Cowards." She spat at the smaller ships retreating from the battlefield. "We are Clivar. We do not run." She turned to Visik, her voice venomous. "Prepare the Oblivion Lance. If they want to fight, we'll give them one they'll never forget." Visik hesitated. "Commander, the Oblivion Lance is experimental. If it fails, do it." Zyra barked. "That ship is a threat to the Empire itself. It must be destroyed. Humanity's greatest weapon." Inside the Titan, Kane watched as the Frykar began to charge its ultimate weapon. The energy readings on her display spiked dangerously high. "They're going for a doomsday shot," Harris said grimly. "If that thing hits us—" "It won't," Kane interrupted. She turned to Garcia. "Deploy the Nebula Protocol. Let's show them why we've been playing defense until now." The Nebula Protocol. The Titan suddenly released a burst of concentrated particles, creating an artificial nebula that cloaked the ship in a shimmering cloud. The alien sensors were instantly blinded, their targeting systems rendered useless. On the Frykar, chaos erupted. "We've lost visual on the target," Visek shouted. "The weapon can't fire without a lock." Zyra's fists clenched as she realized the truth. The Titan wasn't just powerful, it was untouchable. Her ship's strongest weapon was useless against an opponent that had anticipated every move. Humanity stands tall. As the Titan emerged from the nebula, its cannons charged for a finishing blow. Kane's voice rang out across the alien fleet in one final transmission. "You came here as conquerors, but you leave as survivors. This is your last chance. Retreat or be destroyed." The Clivar ships, now leaderless and broken, began to withdraw. Even the battered Frykar limped away, its engines sputtering. Zyra, slumped in her chair, stared at the retreating Titan with a mixture of rage and awe. "They're not prey," she muttered. "They're predators." The Titan stood victorious, a testament to humanity's resilience and ingenuity. But as Kane watched the alien fleet retreat, she knew this was only the beginning. Humanity's secret weapon. The alien fleet limped away, its once proud formation reduced to disarray. But on the HSS Titan, Captain Aria Kane wasn't celebrating yet. The battle wasn't over. Something about the Clivar's retreat didn't sit right with her. "Status report," Kane commanded, her voice calm but edged with urgency. Lieutenant Harris scanned the tactical display. "Enemy fleet is withdrawing, Captain, but their command ship, what's left of it, is lingering at the edge of sensor range. They're stalling." Kane narrowed her eyes. "Stalling for what?" As if to answer her question, the Titan's long-range sensors detected a massive energy spike. Harris's face paled. "Captain, I'm reading a new signature from the alien flagship. Whatever they're powering up, it's big, bigger than anything we've seen so far." Kane's mind raced. She knew the aliens wouldn't retreat without a fight. They'd gambled everything on this final move. The Clivar weren't just trying to destroy the Titan. They were trying to make a statement. "Crew, prepare for evasive maneuvers," Kane ordered. "Bring the arc core to full capacity. If they want to see what humanity is capable of, we'll show them." The Clivar's last resort. Aboard the Frykar, Commander Xyra clung to her final hope. The Oblivion Lance, a weapon so destructive that its very existence was classified within the Clivar Empire. It wasn't a mere cannon. It was a destabilized antimatter warhead designed to collapse entire planets. But firing it came at a cost. The weapon's unstable nature meant that using it could destroy both the target and the ship that fired it. "Commander," Visick said, his voice trembling, "the Oblivion Lance is ready, but I must remind you, this will destroy us as well." Xyra glared at her second-in-command. "The Titan is a threat to our Empire's survival. If we let them live, they'll bring ruin to the Clivar. Sacrifices must be made." Her claws hovered over the firing console. She hesitated for only a moment before slamming her hand down. The Oblivion Lance began to charge, its energy signature blinding to any ship's sensors. Humanity's gamble. On the Titan, alarms blared as the enemy's weapon locked onto the ship. The energy readings from the Oblivion Lance were unlike anything Kane's crew had ever seen. "Captain," Harris shouted, "if that thing hits us—" Kane cut him off. "It won't." Her voice was calm, but her resolve was ironclad. "Activate phase shielding and prepare for countermeasures." Phase shielding was one of the Titan's most closely guarded secrets. Unlike traditional energy shields, it temporarily shifted the ship into an alternate quantum state, making it intangible to most forms of attack. But the process was risky. It required an enormous amount of energy and could only be sustained for a short period. "Engage the arc core," Kane ordered. Deep within the Titan, the arc core roared to life. The revolutionary power source, a fusion of dark matter and quantum energy, pulsed like a beating heart. Its energy coursed through the ship, causing the Titan to shimmer as it began to phase out of normal space. The lance fires. On the Vrykar, the Oblivion Lance reached critical mass. The Clivar crew braced themselves, knowing their ship wouldn't survive the weapon's discharge. With a deafening hum, the weapon fired, releasing a beam of pure annihilation toward the Titan. The beam tore through space, warping the void around it. The Clivar fleet watched in silence, their hopes pinned on this one desperate strike. On the Titan's bridge, the crew held their breath as the beam approached. Just as it was about to hit, the ship flickered and disappeared. The beam passed harmlessly through empty space. "What just happened?" Garcia whispered, breaking the stunned silence on the Titan's bridge. Kane allowed herself a small smile. "They just learned what it means to underestimate humanity." The Titan strikes back. The Titan reappeared moments later, its systems glowing with the residual energy of the arc core. The Oblivion Lance's energy dissipated into the void, leaving the Clivar flagship exposed and defenseless. Kane seized the moment. "Target the Vrykar and fire all weapons. End this." The Titan's cannons roared to life, unleashing a coordinated barrage of missiles and energy beams. The Vrykar, already crippled from earlier attacks, couldn't withstand the onslaught. The alien flagship exploded in a fiery cascade, its debris scattering into the void. The aftermath. With the Vrykar destroyed, the remaining Clivar ships abandoned their positions and fled. The once mighty fleet, which had arrived expecting an easy conquest, was reduced to a handful of scattered survivors. On the Titan, the bridge erupted in cheers. Humanity had faced its first true test against an interstellar empire, and won. Kane, however, didn't join in the celebration. She stood at the holographic display, watching the retreating ships. "This isn't over," she said quietly. "They'll be back. And next time, they'll come with more than scouts." A chilling discovery. As the crew began to assess the battlefield, Lieutenant Harris approached Kane with a grim expression. "Captain, our sensors picked up a transmission before the flagship was destroyed. It wasn't directed at us. It was sent back to their homeworld." Kane's eyes narrowed. "What kind of transmission?" Harris hesitated. "A warning, ma'am. They're telling their empire about the Titan." Kane's expression hardened. "So the galaxy knows we're here now." She turned to her crew, her voice resolute. Then we'll be ready. Humanity isn't just surviving. We're evolving. And if they come for us again, they'll face the full power of what we've built. The turning point. The Titan drifted in the void, victorious yet vigilant. The remnants of the alien fleet were long gone, retreating into the dark expanse of space. But aboard the ship, Captain Arya Kane felt no relief. Victory had come at a cost. Exposure. Humanity's greatest weapon, the HS Titan, was no longer a secret. Somewhere in the vast reaches of the galaxy, a message now burned in Clivar databanks. Earth was not weak, but dangerous. Captain, Lieutenant Harris interrupted her thoughts. The crew is reporting full operational readiness. Repairs to secondary systems are complete. No major damages. Kane nodded, though her expression remained grave. Good. But our battle isn't over, Lieutenant. The Clivar won't take this humiliation lightly. The real threat revealed. The Titan's sensors suddenly lit up with activity. A new energy signature had appeared on the far edge of the system, its readings larger and more complex than anything encountered so far. Kane stepped closer to the holographic display, her eyes narrowing. What are we looking at, Harris? Harris worked quickly, his fingers flying over the console. I'm picking up a new fleet entering the system. 15 ships, larger than the scouts we just defeated. And there's a mothership at the center. It's massive, Captain. Bigger than anything we faced. The hologram revealed the shape of the mothership, a sprawling fortress-like structure bristling with weapons and surrounded by a swarm of smaller warships. It was clear that the Clivar Empire had wasted no time. Reinforcements had arrived, and they weren't here to negotiate. We've got incoming, Harris confirmed grimly. Humanity's desperate plan. Kane's mind raced. The Titan was formidable, but facing an entire fleet with a fully operational mothership was a different challenge. Even with the ship's advanced technology, their resources weren't infinite. She had to think quickly. Auctions, she said, turning to her senior staff. What do we have? Garcia, the weapons officer, spoke first. We can try hitting them hard and fast, like we did with the First Fleet. Take out their lead ship and watch them crumble. Harris shook his head. That mothership is heavily shielded. Even with the Titan's main cannon, it would take multiple sustained hits to bring it down, and their fleet would tear us apart before we got a second shot. Kane considered their words before speaking. What about the Arc Core? Can we overcharge it? Ensign Dorsey, the Titan's shield technician, hesitated. The Arc Core is stable at normal levels, Captain, but pushing it into overdrive could destabilize the ship. If it fails, we'd lose everything. Kane nodded, the weight of the decision clear on her face. It's a risk we might have to take. If we don't stop them here, Earth won't stand a chance. The Clivar make their move. As the Titan prepared for battle, the Clivar mothership sent out its first salvo. A wave of missiles streaked toward the Titan, their glowing trails lighting up the void. Kane watched the incoming attack on the holographic display. Shields up, she ordered. The Titan's cascade shielding flared to life, absorbing and redirecting the initial barrage. But the mothership's weaponry was relentless, and cracks began to form in the Titan's defenses. They're testing us, Kane said. They want to see how far they can push before we break. Humanity's secret countermeasure. Captain, Harris said suddenly, we might have another option. The Arc Core isn't just a power source. It's also capable of creating localized spatial distortions. We could use it to generate a gravity well. Kane's eyes lit up. A gravity well. Explain. Harris continued. If we activate the Arc Core in a specific configuration, we can create a temporary distortion that pulls their fleet together. It would disrupt their formation and make them vulnerable to a concentrated attack. But it's risky, Dorsey added. The core would be operating at near critical levels. If anything goes wrong, Kane didn't hesitate. We'll make it work. Harris, prepare the core for a gravity well. Garcia, coordinate targeting systems for when the distortion pulls them in. The gravity well. The Titan moved into position, its thrusters burning brightly as the crew worked frantically. The arc core began to glow, its energy pulsing through the ship in waves. On the bridge, Kane stood steady, her voice carrying over the chaos. "Prepare to fire the core. Target coordinates locked." "Locked, Captain," Harris confirmed. "Do it." The arc core unleashed its power, and space itself seemed to ripple. The Clivar fleet, advancing confidently moments before, was suddenly caught in the distortion. Ships were pulled out of formation, dragged toward a single point as their systems struggled to compensate. On the mothership, chaos erupted. "Commander, the human ship has destabilized our formation." A Clivar officer shouted. "We're losing control of the fleet." The turning point. With the Clivar ships clumped together and vulnerable, Kane gave the final order. "Fire all weapons. Take them out." The Titan unleashed a devastating barrage. Rail cannons, missiles, and energy beams tore through the disoriented fleet, destroying ship after ship. The Clivar mothership, unable to maneuver, took heavy damage, its shields failing under the relentless assault. Inside the mothership, Clivar commanders scrambled for a solution, but it was too late. The humans had outsmarted them at every turn. "Commander," one officer said, his voice trembling, "the human ship. It's unstoppable. Humanity prevails." As the last Clivar ship exploded in a blinding flash, the battlefield fell silent. The Titan, scared but victorious, stood alone amidst the wreckage. On the bridge, the crew erupted in cheers. Kane allowed herself a small smile, but her thoughts were already on the future. They had won this battle, but she knew the Clivar wouldn't stop. They would return with greater numbers, more advanced technology, and an unrelenting desire for revenge. "Captain," Harris said quietly, "we've sent a message to the galaxy. Earth isn't a weakling anymore." Kane nodded. "No, we're not. But this is just the beginning. Humanity's survival will depend on what we do next." She turned to the bridge crew. "Prepare the Titan for repairs. We're going home. But stay sharp. This war is far from over." The victory. The HS Titan limped through the debris field of its latest battle, its scars a testament to humanity's resilience. The Clivar mothership had been obliterated, and its fleet scattered, but Captain Aria Kane knew this was no time for celebration. Victory in battle didn't mean survival in the war. The galaxy now knew Earth's secret. Humanity wasn't just a rising species, it was a force to be reckoned with. "Damage report," Kane said, her voice steady despite the exhaustion that weighed on her. Lieutenant Harris responded, his tone brisk. "Shields are at 20%. Minor hull breaches in sectors 5 and 7, but nothing critical. The arc core is stable, though it'll take time to fully recharge. Weapon systems are operational but running low on ammunition." "Good," Kane replied. "Let's make sure we're ready for anything. This isn't over." The Clivar's last message. As the Titan began to pull away from the wreckage, a faint signal pinged on the communications console. The crew exchanged puzzled glances. "Captain," the communications officer said, "we're receiving a transmission." "It's Clivar. Text only." Kane's brow furrowed. "Display it." The message appeared on the screen, translated into Earth's language. "You may have won today, humans, but this is not the end. The Clivar Empire does not forget. Prepare yourselves. Your defiance will bring ruin to your world." The bridge was silent as the weight of the message sank in. It wasn't just a threat, it was a promise. "They're scared," Kane said finally, "and scared enemies are dangerous ones." Humanity's first stand. Back on Earth, news of the Titan's victory spread like wildfire. Broadcasts lit up every corner of the planet, showing images of the destroyed Clivar fleet and the Titan standing triumphant. For the first time, humanity wasn't just surviving, it was winning. In the United Nations Command Center, Earth's leaders convened in an emergency meeting. Generals, scientists, and diplomats all debated the next steps. Should they prepare for full-scale war? Should they send a message of peace to the galaxy? Or should they double down on their defenses, knowing that more fleets would come? Amid the chaos, a single message was sent to the Titan: return home. Humanity needs its guardian. A hero's welcome. As the Titan approached Earth, it was met with a sight that brought tears to the eyes of its crew. Hundreds of civilian and military ships had gathered in orbit, their lights blinking in a silent show of gratitude. Earth's blue surface stretched below, a reminder of everything they were fighting for. On the bridge, Lieutenant Garcia leaned back in his chair, letting out a long breath. "Never thought I'd be so happy to see home." Kane nodded but kept her focus on the holographic display. "This is just the first step. We've shown the galaxy we can fight, but now we have to show them we can endure." Building the future, the Titan docked at the orbital defense station, where repairs began immediately. Crews swarmed over its hull, patching up damage and replenishing supplies. But more importantly, Earth's brightest minds were already at work, analyzing data from the battle. In the station's war room, Kane met with a team of scientists and engineers. The discussion wasn't just about repairing the Titan. It was about evolving it. The Clivar had forced humanity to reveal its hand, and now they needed to be ready for the next confrontation. "We'll need more ships," Kane said, pacing the room. "The Titan can't fight the galaxy alone." A scientist nodded. "We've already begun designs for the Titan-class fleet, Captain. Your ship was the prototype. The next generation will be faster, stronger, and smarter." Kane allowed herself a small smile. "Good. Let's make sure the Clivar regret ever challenging us." Humanity's resolve. Across Earth, the mood shifted. Fear of alien invasion turned into a fierce determination to survive. Factories worked day and night, building new defenses. Recruiting centers overflowed with volunteers eager to join the fight. Humanity wasn't just reacting anymore, it was preparing. Kane watched these developments from the Titan's observation deck, the vastness of space stretching out before her. She thought of the battles ahead, the lives that would be lost, and the sacrifices that would need to be made. But she also thought of Earth's potential, its capacity for unity and innovation. "They underestimated us," she said quietly. "They won't make that mistake again." A final warning. As repairs on the Titan neared completion, a new transmission arrived. This time, not from the Clivar, but from an unknown source. The voice was deep and resonant, speaking in a language that hadn't been heard before. "Humans, we have watched your rise. The Clivar Empire was only the beginning. The galaxy is vast, and not all will welcome you as equals. Prepare yourselves. The real war is yet to come." The transmission ended abruptly, leaving the crew in stunned silence. "What the hell was that?" Garcia muttered. Kane stared at the screen, her expression unreadable. "It's a warning, and an opportunity. The Titan's mission continues. With Earth now united, and humanity's resolve stronger than ever, the Titan prepared to launch once again. This time, it wasn't just defending a single planet. It was representing an entire species. As the ship powered up, Kane addressed her crew. "We've proven we can fight. Now we must prove we can lead. Out there is a galaxy full of challenges, enemies, and possibilities. We're not just fighting for Earth. We're fighting for our place among the stars." The Titan's engines roared to life, and the ship disappeared into the void, leaving Earth behind, but carrying its hopes into the unknown.